The college entrance exam English test was about to begin. The School Beauty, by Jixia, pried open my hearing aid, her face full of innocence. I just wanted to see how it makes the sound louder inside. My childhood friend Xie Wenju immediately stepped in front of her, his tone impatient. Jixia didn't mean it. This kind of curiosity in her is precious. Anyway, you're always good at English reading. Missing a few sentences in the listening section won't affect you. People from the 4 provinces of Henan, Shandong, Shaanxi, and Hebei are competing for 1 spot per 1,000. They can handle it. Don't scare her here. If it really doesn't work, just try again next year. Don't mess up everyone's mindset. The repair shop was 10 kilometers from the exam site. There was no way to make it in time. Xie Wenju lowered his head to coax Bai Jixia and led her toward the queue entrance. Be mature. Don't argue with her. I picked up the battery cover that had been snapped off. I didn't say anything. He had forgotten. My hearing aid had already been sent in for maintenance. This one was the backup custom piece he had brought from home last night. Afraid the listening broadcast would be too muffled. I wondered if, when he walked into the exam room and heard nothing but a buzzing noise, he could still call her curiosity adorable. When the check-in bell rang, Bai Jixia was still clutching the battery cover she had bent. Baby really didn't know it was so fragile. A few classmates immediately gathered around. Some looked at me, some looked at her, and one person muttered, "It's the college entrance exam. Don't make this so ugly." The one who looked ugly was me. I was the one whose hearing aid had been dismantled. I was the one standing at the exam site entrance, unable to hear the broadcast clearly. But as soon as Bai Jixia's eyes turned red, Xie Wenju reacted as if he'd been pricked by a needle. When he called me by my full name, it always carried a tone of judgment. Don't blow this out of proportion. Bai Jixia hid behind him, grabbing the sleeve of his school uniform. Brother Wenju, did baby cause trouble? Xie Wenju turned to look at her, his voice immediately softening. It's fine. A small problem. A small problem. I stared at the hearing aid in his hand. Its back cover no longer able to close. All I could hear was the noise of the crowd at the exam site, the wind, footsteps, the security teacher shouting for the line to form, all of it mixed into a blur against my eardrums. The chill in my chest felt like someone was pressing me inch by inch into icy water. Xie Wenju, I reached out my hand. Give it back to me. Xie Wenju furrowed his brow. What are you going to do? Give it back. What use is it for you to take a broken thing in there now? He stuffed the hearing aid into his pocket. I'll find someone to fix it after the exam. Okay, Bai Jixia added softly. Yeah, a broken thing will affect your mood, sister. Ningning, don't take it. She called me sister even though she was 2 months older than me. Someone nearby laughed. Bai Jixia is so cute. When Henning is so aggressive, showing a bad face before the college entrance exam. Xie Wenju already apologized. Right, apologized from start to finish. He only told me to be mature. I stared at Xie Wenju's pocket. That's not mine. Xie Wenju's expression froze. What? The check-in teacher started urging. 3rd exam room, line up here, hurry up. Don't block the entrance. Bai Jixia suddenly reached out and gently tugged at Xie Wenju's shirt hem. Brother Wenju, baby's head feels a little dizzy. Xie Wenju immediately steadied her. Are you nervous? Go in first. I'll line up with you. As he finished speaking, he brushed past me. When his shoulder bumped into mine, he didn't stop. The broken battery cover fell from Bai Jixia's fingertips and bounced to the tip of my shoe. She turned back and stuck her tongue out at me quickly. She put on that frightened expression again. Sister Ningning, don't glare at baby. Baby will be scared. Xie Wenju turned back. When Henning, that shout drew the attention of many parents at the entrance. I bent down to pick up the battery cover. The edge cut my fingertip. A tiny bead of blood welled up. It didn't hurt, not as much as when I was 5, when a fever damaged my hearing, and Xie Wenju grabbed my hand and cried until he couldn't breathe. He said, Henning, from now on, I'll be your ears. Now, he was using those ears as a stepping stool for Bai Jixia. The security teacher saw the parts in my hand and frowned, asking, Student, can you still use this? I shook my head. No. The teacher's expression changed. The listening section is about to start. Is a parent here? Is there a backup? Suddenly, a familiar female voice came from behind. There is. My mother pushed through the crowd, her forehead covered in sweat. She was clutching a clear sealed bag in her hand. Henning, your hearing aid. Xie Wenju stopped in the queue line and spun around sharply. I took the bag. The seal strip had a repair shop label on it. Pickup time. Today, 8:40 a.m. My mother was panting, her eyes red and swollen. The shop finished repairing it early. I ran all the way here. The check-in teacher let out a sigh of relief. Hurry, take your documents and get in first. Xie Wenju's gaze fell on the sealed bag, then slowly shifted to his own pocket. In that instant, it seemed like he finally remembered the words he had said outside my doorstep last night. Take my backup phone first. I'll use the main one tomorrow. You can't gamble with the English listening test. Unfortunately, he had already personally turned that backup phone into the source of Bai Jixia's grievance. Bai Jixia had seen it too. The innocence on her face froze for half a second, then she tugged at Xie Wenju again. Brother Wenju, hurry, hurry, let's go, the baby is going to be late. Xie Wenju's Adam's apple bobbed. When Henning, the teacher urged again, student, enter the venue. I stepped past him and walked into the security checkpoint. The metal detector scanned my backpack, letting out a short beep. The teacher opened the bag to check the registration documents. Just as the stamp was about to fall, I heard Xie Wenju's lowered voice from behind. Jixia, that one you just took apart. Bai Jixia let out a soft ah. The baby doesn't know. Don't be mean to the baby. I picked up the pen and signed my name on the exam venue item confirmation form. The tip of the pen landed on the paper, scratching out a harsh sound. When I sat down in the exam room, the listening test audio was just starting. The new hearing aid fit snugly in my ear canal. The female voice on the broadcast was as clear as if it were right next to my ear. This is the audio test time. The examinees around me were all looking down, checking their answer sheets. I looked up and saw Xie Wenju sitting in the second row, diagonally in front of me. He was rubbing his ear. The motion was very light, but he repeated it 3 times. The invigilator walked over to him, bent down, and asked something. Xie Wenju shook his head. Bai Jixia was sitting in the row in front of him. She turned back and made a heart shape at him with her hands. Go, fighting. Her mouth movements were exaggerated. I could see them clearly. Xie Wenju forced a faint smile. The broadcast volume echoed through the exam room. It wasn't harsh for ordinary people, but for him, it was like sand mixed in. His hearing loss in his left ear was something only the two of us and both sets of parents knew about. Back in middle school, he fell while playing basketball and got a concussion. After a period of temporary tinnitus, he didn't get timely treatment, leaving a lasting after effect. He was afraid of being seen as flawed, so every time there was a physical exam, he had me help him cover it up. Every time there was a listening practice, he would sit close to the speaker. Every time someone called me little deaf girl, he would rush in to fight them. Later, Bai Jixia transferred here. The first time she saw my hearing aid, her eyes lit up like she had found a new toy. Wow, a little ear machine. So cool. Xie Wenju smiled and said, she's just curious. From that day on, curiosity became Bai Jixia's get-out-of-jail-free card. She was curious about why I was half a beat slower in speaking, so she would deliberately call out to me from behind during class breaks. She was curious about whether a hearing aid could get wet, so she put my storage case next to the sink. She was curious about whether a hearing-impaired student wouldn't have to listen to bad words, so she said in front of the whole class that I was relying on my disability to gain sympathy. Every time, Xie Wenju would say, she didn't mean it. The answer sheets were handed out. The invigilator reminded everyone, first, fill in your name and admission ticket number. When the exam paper reached me, Xie Wenju suddenly raised his hand. Teacher, his voice was a little hoarse, can you turn up the broadcast? The invigilator looked around the room. Can the other students hear clearly? A few voices from the room answered, yes. Bai Jixia also said crisply, can hear clearly. Xie Wenju's face paled a bit. The invigilator answered according to the rules, it's a unified broadcast, it can't be adjusted individually. He opened his mouth. In the end, he only said, okay. The listening test officially began. The first dialogue started. I looked down at the questions. Every word was clear, so clear that I could hear the scratching of Xie Wenju's pen stopping on the paper. After the first question ended, He hadn't filled in his answer sheet after the second question ended. He was staring at the test paper. Halfway through the third segment, Bai Jixia suddenly let out a soft cough. Cough, cough. The sound wasn't loud, but it was perfectly timed just before the answer came. Xie Wenshu's shoulders tensed up. The invigilator immediately looked over. Bai Jixia covered her mouth and raised her hand with a pitiful expression. Teacher, the baby's throat is itchy. It wasn't on purpose. The teacher frowned. Don't make any noise during the exam. Bai Jixia nodded. As the next audio segment began, her eraser fell to the floor. Thump again. It was right before the answer. Xie Wenshu's pen tip jerked violently, dragging a black line across the answer sheet. The teacher walked over to pick up the eraser. Bai Jixia whispered her thanks. Thank you, teacher. The baby's hands were slippery. This time, Xie Wenshu didn't turn his head to look at her. After the reading section began, the exam room fell silent, with only the sound of pages turning. I was writing very fast. So fast that when I reached the last reading passage, I could see from my peripheral vision that Xie Wenshu was still stuck on the closed test. His English wasn't bad, he just lost points in the listening section, and that had thrown his mindset off. As I was finishing the final composition, the invigilator reminded everyone, 15 minutes remaining. Bai Jixia raised her hand again. Teacher, I need to go to the bathroom. The teacher checked the clock. You can't leave the room now, for special circumstances. A same-gender invigilator will accompany you. Bai Jixia bit her lip. But the baby's tummy hurts. Her voice carried a sob. The attention of the entire exam hall was yanked toward her. Xie Wenshu finally looked up, but that glance held no sympathy, only irritation. Bai Jixia acted as if she didn't see it, turning back to look at him. Wenshu Gij, the invigilator's face darkened. No communication allowed in the exam hall. The veins on Xie Wenshu's hand, gripping his pen, bulged. I finished writing the final period. The bell rang for the end of the exam. Answer sheets were collected one by one. Bai Jixia immediately slumped over her desk and cried, "The baby bombed the test. The baby feels so terrible." People in the same exam hall started to comfort her. Xie Wenshu sat motionless. As the invigilator took his answer sheet, he suddenly asked, "Teacher, if I filled in the wrong bubbles on the answer sheet, can I request a replacement?" The invigilator glanced at it. "The exam is over. You can't." Bai Jixia's crying paused for a beat, then it grew louder. "It's all the baby's fault." The baby dragged Wenshu Gij down. Xie Wenshu slowly turned his head to look at her. The doorway was crowded with people. I picked up my pencil case and walked past him. Half of a broken hearing aid was sticking out of my pocket. The back cover wasn't closed, and the battery had already fallen out. He reached out to touch it, his fingertips trembling slightly. After leaving the exam hall, Bai Jixia was surrounded by a group of girls. She sobbed, her shoulders heaving, as if she had suffered a great injustice. The baby really didn't mean to cough, cough. The baby didn't know the eraser would fall off. The baby was just too nervous. La. Xie Wenshu stood outside the crowd, his expression grim. Someone asked him, "Wenshu, how's your hearing?" He didn't answer. Bai Jixia looked up at him, tears clinging to her eyelashes. "Wenshu Gij, do you blame the baby?" In the past, he would have immediately said no, but this time, the silence was too long, so long that even the people around them sensed something was wrong. Bai Jixia bit her lip, and tears fell again. "Then the baby will apologize to you." "Okay, I'm sorry, La." "Wenshu Gij, don't be angry." Xie Wenshu finally spoke. "Why did you take apart that hearing aid?" The air went still. Bai Jixia froze. "The baby said it." "La, the baby was just curious, before the college entrance exam started." "You were curious?" "Yes, La." She sounded like she was being wronged, her voice rising. The baby just had never seen one before. Sister Ningning usually won't let the baby touch it, so the baby just wanted to take a little look. The classmates around me started to look at me. Even though I had been standing far away, waiting for my mother, the fire still burned its way to me. A boy frowned. "When Henning, you're usually too stingy. What's the big deal about letting someone look at a hearing aid?" Another chimed in. "But breaking it isn't really right. Bai Jixia, just pay for it." Bai Jixia's eyes instantly turned red. Hey, then, it's not like the baby can't afford it. She fumbled in her backpack and pulled out a crumpled 50 yuan bill, holding it out to me. Sister Ningning, is this enough? Ah, some people around laughed. 50 yuan can buy a hearing aid. Bai Jixia turned around, looking helpless. The baby doesn't know. La, the baby thought it was about the same as earphones. Xie Wenchu's face turned even paler. That backup custom-made hearing aid cost 68,000. Because his left ear had a special hearing condition. The ear mold had been made 3 times on the day of payment. His mother sat in the store, sighing. Wenju refuses to wear it. He says it makes him look like a disabled person. Later, I was the one who convinced him. I told him, hearing clearly isn't shameful. Struggling to hear and pretending you're fine is what's truly hard. The first day he wore it, he smiled and said to me, Henning, I feel like I've returned to the normal world. Now, his normal world had been broken in two by Bai Jixia. My mother walked over and stood in front of me. Classmate, this isn't something 50 yuan can solve. Bai Jixia, confronted by an adult, immediately shrank back. Auntie, you're so fierce. Fierce. Xie Wenju instinctively stepped in front of her. After making the move, he himself froze. I looked at him, still protecting her. His lips moved. I'm not, my mother asked coldly. Whose thing is this? Xie Wenju lowered his head. Mine. The crowd erupted. It's not Wen Henning's. Then Bai Jixia took apart Xie Wenchu's hearing aid. Xie Wenju needs a hearing aid. Xie Wenchu's head snapped up. The thing he was most afraid of people knowing had been laid bare right at the entrance to the exam site. All color drained from his face. Bai Jixia covered her mouth. Wenshu Gij, you have a little ear machine too. Ah. That sentence stung more than any mockery. The look in Xie Wenchu's eyes as he gazed at her finally changed. You didn't know, the baby didn't know. La, she stamped her foot in a panic. You never told the baby. The baby thought it was Sister Ningning's. I asked softly, so if it were mine, it would be okay to take it apart. Bai Jixia choked on her words. After a moment, she shook her head, crying, No, the baby just thought Sister Ningning wouldn't be so stingy. My mother couldn't hold back any longer. She's not stingy, so it's fine for her to break your life-saving equipment. Bai Jixia stumbled back in fright. Life-saving? You make it sound so scary. Baby's not a killer. Someone in the crowd frowned. Those words were too harsh to hear. Xie Wenju reached out, as if trying to pull Bai Jixia back, but Bai Jixia dodged him first. Brother Wenju, don't look at baby like that. Baby's scared, crying. She ran toward the school bus. A few girls quickly chased after her. Xie Wenju stood in place, his hand still hanging in the air. My mother pulled me away. Let's go home first. We'd only taken 2 steps when Xie Wenju called out to me. He Ning. I didn't turn back. He caught up and blocked my path. I'm sorry. The belated apology felt weightless. I stepped around him. Xie Wenju grabbed my wrist. I didn't know she would break it. I thought you really needed it today. I laughed. So you thought she ruined my exam, and that was okay too. His fingers slowly loosened behind us. Bai Jixia's sharp cry rang out. Brother Wenju, aren't you coming to comfort baby? Xie Wenju looked back. In that second, his foot took half a step toward her. I saw it. My mother saw it too. She raised her hand and slapped Xie Wenju hard. The sharp crack drowned out all the noise at the exam center entrance. Xie Wenju's face turned to the side. Frozen for a long moment. My mother's hand was trembling. That slap was from your mother. Xie Wenchu's eyes reddened. Auntie, your mother ran to countless hospitals to treat your ears. You know that better than anyone. My mother's voice shook. You know how hard it is to hear clearly, and yet you gave He Ning's hardship away to comfort someone else. The surrounding parents looked over. Xie Wenju lowered his head, as if stripped bare in front of everyone. Bai Jixia rushed over, shielding him. Auntie, how can you hit people? She spread her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Brother Wenju already apologized. What more do you want? Bullying someone on the first day of the college entrance exam. Baby is really breaking down. My mother looked at her coldly. You destroyed someone else's hearing aid. Why are you breaking down? Bai Jixia's tears fell even harder. Baby said she'd pay for it. She held up that 50 yuan bill again. Baby gave all her pocket money to you. Why are you still pushing? Xie Wenju said hoarsely. Jixia, stop it. I won't. Bai Jixia seemed provoked. When He Ning has had people giving in to her since she was little. Just because she can't hear a little bit, everyone thinks she's pitiful. I looked at her. She finally dropped the act, but the next second, she was back to that soft, whining tone. Baby just wanted Brother Wenju to look at baby a little more. Okay, what did baby do wrong? When that came out, the expressions in the crowd all changed. She wasn't unaware of how important the hearing aid was, she just wanted to take it. Xie Wenju closed his eyes. Go back to the car first. Bai Jixia couldn't believe it. You're yelling at baby. Go back. His voice dropped low. Bai Jixia's face flushed bright red. Xie Wenju, you're yelling at me for her now. My mother pulled me to leave. The security guard at the school gate started dispersing the crowd. Bai Jixia was still crying behind us. Sister Ning Ning, are you satisfied now? You took Brother Wenju back. Are you happy? I stopped walking. I turned to look at her. Bai Jixia, no one's taking anything, she hiccuped, staring at me. I only pick up what I don't want. Xie Wenju's face went pale. Bai Jixia shrieked. Who's picking up? The security guard held her back. My mother shoved me into a taxi just as the door closed. Xie Wenju chased to the curb. He tapped on the window. He Ning, I'll pick you up for math tomorrow, my mother said directly to the driver. Drive. The car started moving. In the rearview mirror, Xie Wenju stood by the roadside. Bai Jixia rushed over and pushed him. He didn't dodge. Back home, my father was waiting in the living room. He was a volunteer lawyer for the Provincial Hearing Impaired Exam Candidate Rights Assistance Center, and paper and pen were already laid out on the table. Tell me the whole story clearly. My mother set down the repair receipt, the filing form, and the video from the exam center entrance. The more my father listened, the darker his face became. First, report it to the police for a record, then contact the school. I shook my head. I still have exams tomorrow. My father looked at me. I'm not telling you to deal with it now, I'm telling you to keep the evidence. Just then, the doorbell rang. My mother went to answer it. Xie Wenju's mother stood outside, her eyes red and swollen, holding the broken hearing aid in her hand. He Ning, Auntie is sorry to you. She bent over to bow. My mother quickly caught her. Madame Xie walked in, her voice choked with tears. Wenju didn't dare come up, he's downstairs. My father took the hearing aid to inspect it. The battery compartment was broken, and the microphone cover was pried loose. This wasn't just casually opening it to look. It had been forcibly pried with fingernails and a pen tip. Madame Xie's face turned ashen. I'll handle the compensation with the Bai family, and Wenju should take responsibility too. My mother didn't speak. Suddenly, Xie's mother turned to me. He Ning, I'm begging you for one thing. I looked up. She pulled an application form from her bag. Wenju's hearing issue has never been reported. He's terrified of his classmates finding out. The paper crumpled in her grip. He bombed the listening test today. And now he's saying he won't take it anymore. A dull thud echoed from downstairs. It sounded like someone had kicked over a trash can. Xie's mother's tears splattered onto the application form. He only listens to you. Can you talk to him? The living room fell silent. My mother looked at me, her gaze tense. My father pressed down on the police report receipt on the table. He Ning, you don't have to take responsibility for anyone else's breakdown. From outside the door, Xie Wenju's voice carried up through the stairwell. When He Ning, come down here. I have something to ask you. When my father pulled open the door, Xie Wenju stood at the bottom of the stairs. The skin on the back of his right hand was scraped raw, probably from punching the wall. When he saw me, his eyes were bloodshot, terrifying. Did you know all along? My father stepped in front of me. Xie Wenju, watch your tone. But Xie Wenju stared straight at me. You knew your own hearing aid was fixed. So you deliberately let me give you my backup, didn't you? Xie's mother's face paled. Wenju, he acted like he couldn't hear her. When Jixia took it apart, why didn't you say it was mine? The moment those words landed, even the sound-activated light in the stairwell flickered off for a second. My mother let out a cold laugh. You were the one shielding Bai Jixia, not letting He Ning speak. Now you're blaming her for not saving you. Xie Wenju's chest heaved. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? I took a step forward. My father didn't stop me. Xie Wenju's voice trembled. If you'd told me sooner, I would have stopped her. This time, I really laughed out loud. I did tell you. He froze. What did you say? I said. That's not mine. The sound-activated light in the stairwell flickered back on. The anger on Xie Wenshu's face shattered, piece by piece. That scene at the exam gate. He hadn't missed it, he had just chosen not to hear it. Xie's mother closed her eyes and reached out to steady herself against the wall. Wenju, you're a bastard. Xie Wenju opened his mouth suddenly. Bai Jixia's voice came from downstairs. Wenshu Gij, she had actually found her way here. Bai Jixia was wearing her school uniform, her eyes swollen from crying, with her mother trailing behind her. Mrs. Bai clutched a designer handbag, her expression sour. Mrs. Xie, Jixia was so scared she couldn't even eat dinner. And you still called the police? My father's voice was cold. Mrs. Bai, your daughter damaged someone else's property and disrupted the college entrance exam order. Is there a problem with filing a police report? Mrs. Bai frowned. It's just a little squabble between kids. Why make such a big deal out of it? Bai Jixia hid behind her, sniffling. Mommy, baby's scared. Mrs. Bai immediately patted her back. Don't be scared, Mommy's here. Xie's mother gritted her teeth. A little squabble. That was Wenshu's hearing aid. Mrs. Bai glanced at Xie Wenju dismissively, her tone turning flippant. Then just pay for it, right? She pulled a bank card from her bag. 100,000. That should be enough, right? Xie Wenshu's face instantly darkened, not because of the money, because of the way Mrs. Bai looked at him, like he was just a nuisance to be dealt with. But Bai Jixia poked her head out, timidly saying, Mommy, is baby really that bad? Mrs. Bai immediately glared at us. My daughter has a pure heart. She's never seen anything like this before. She was just curious and touched it. My father placed his phone on the table, touched it. On the screen was a video sent by a parent from the exam gate. The footage wasn't crystal clear, but the audio was loud enough. Bai Jixia held the hearing aid and said to the girl beside her, this little cover is so tight, baby just wants to open it. The girl warned her, don't break it. Okay, Bai Jixia giggled. If it breaks, I'll just say it was an accident. In the video, Xie Wenju had his back to her, texting me. Not seeing anything, the color drained from Bai Jixia's face. Mrs. Bai reached out to grab the phone. My father pulled it back. Try that again, and it'll be a separate matter. Mrs. Bai froze. Xie Wenju stared at Bai Jixia. What did you say? Bai Jixia panicked. No, baby was just joking. The video kept playing. She used the tip of a black pen to pry open the battery cover. Click, the cover snapped off. Bai Jixia's smile vanished. She quickly shoved the thing back onto my desk. Ningning Jie. How did yours break? No one spoke in the stairwell. Bai Jixia started shaking. Xie Wenju walked toward her. Step by step she backed away. Wenshu Gij, baby really was just playing. Xie Wenshu's voice was hoarse, barely a whisper. You knew I couldn't hear. Bai Jixia shook her head frantically. I didn't know, you know. He stared at her. Last week's English mock exam, you asked me why I always sat next to the speakers. Bai Jixia's lips turned pale. Baby forgot. You also said, wouldn't it be embarrassing for a boy to wear a hearing aid? Xie's mother sucked in a cold breath. Bai's mother's face changed color too. Bai Jixia cried as she reached for Xie Wenju. Brother Wenju. Baby was just quick with her mouth back then. Xie Wenju shook her off. She lost her balance and stumbled into Bai's mother. Bai's mother immediately shrieked, you pushed my daughter. Xie's mother spoke coldly. Enough. She pulled out her phone. Ms. Bai. We'll handle compensation according to the receipts. I'll hand the video over to the school and the police. Bai's mother trembled with rage. Are you people determined to destroy my daughter? Father spoke. The one destroying her isn't us. Bai Jixia suddenly pointed at me. It's her. Everyone looked at her. Her face twisted as she cried. When Henning has hated baby for a long time, she deliberately made baby touch it. She wanted to get baby punished. I looked at her, not even feeling the desire to explain. Father played another video. This was the footage from our doorstep. Last night, when Xie Wenju handed me his spare hearing aid, he'd said it clearly. This is my backup. Use it tomorrow. Don't let anyone touch it. In the footage, I refused. It's too expensive. I won't take it. Xie Wenju shoved the case into my hand. If you don't take it, I won't feel at ease. The video stopped there. Xie Wenju stood nearby, his face pale. Bai Jixia could no longer speak the next day, before the math exam. The school gate was even more crowded than yesterday. The video of Bai Jixia damaging the hearing aid had spread through the parent groups. It wasn't me who sent it, it was the parent who filmed it yesterday. She'd captioned it, "Curiosity isn't a shield. The college entrance exam isn't a game." As soon as Bai Jixia arrived at the school gate, countless eyes pinned her down. She lowered her head, no longer saying baby. Bai's mother stayed by her side, her face stretched long. Xie Wenju also came. He was wearing a newly purchased temporary hearing aid. The earpiece rubbing his ear canal red from the ill fit. When he saw me, he started walking over. Mother blocked him. "No personal matters before the exam." Xie Wenju stopped, just one sentence. Mother didn't move aside. Father had already communicated with the school last night. From today onward, Xie Wenju and Bai Jixia were not allowed near me. The teacher in charge of order at the school gate walked over. "Student Xie Wenju, enter the exam hall." He glanced at me. "Henning, I'm sorry." I didn't respond. Bai Jixia suddenly lifted her head, her gaze venomous. "Are you satisfied now?" Her voice was very low, only those nearby heard it. "Everyone is cursing me. Are you satisfied now?" The teacher in charge frowned. "Student Bai Jixia." Bai Jixia instantly changed her expression. "Teacher." I didn't say anything. The teacher's face grew colder. Enter the hall. The math exam passed peacefully, but after leaving the exam hall, new trouble arrived. The school's academic affairs director called me to a temporary office. Bai Jixia sat inside, her eyes red. Bai's mother sat beside her. Xie Wenju and Xie's mother were also there. The director's expression was serious. "When Henning, some students have reported that before the exam, you used public opinion to attack Bai Jixia, causing her to break down emotionally during the math test." I looked at Bai Jixia. She kept her head down, her fingers twisting a tissue. Bai's mother sneered. "My daughter has always been in the top 3 of her grade in math. She cried through half the test today. All because of you." Mother suppressed her anger. "We didn't send that video," Bai's mother said. "Who knows if you instigated it?" Xie's mother immediately spoke up. Bai, don't be unreasonable." Bai's mother slapped the table. "Of course you defend the Wen family. Your son grew up with her as a childhood sweetheart." Xie Wenju jerked his head up. "Mom, stop it." Bai Jixia sobbed. "Brother Wenju, baby really doesn't blame you." That baby came out again. Xie Wenju's face stiffened. The director knocked on the table. "Now is not the time for arguments." He looked at me. "When Henning, Bai Jixia has made a request. She wants you to apologize to her and explain in the class group that the video's spread had nothing to do with you, so classmates will stop cyberbullying her." Mother stood up angrily. "She damaged a hearing aid, affected someone else's college entrance exam, and now you want my daughter to apologize." The director sighed. "Wen's mother, the school doesn't want things to escalate either," Father asked coldly. "So the victim has to bow her head." The director avoided his gaze. "During the college entrance exam period, stability is the priority." Bai Jixia lifted her head, her eyes full of tears. "Sister Ningning, just say it, okay? Say baby didn't mean it. Say baby is still a good baby." I looked at her. "You're not." The pity on her face shattered just as Bai's mother was about to erupt. The office door was knocked on. The female teacher who had proctored my English exam hall yesterday walked in. "Director, the examination institute called." The director's expression shifted. "What is it?" The female teacher glanced at Bai Jixia. "They received a report. During the English exam, a candidate intentionally made multiple noises, disrupting the listening broadcast." The tissue in Bai Jixia's hand fell to the floor. The director stood up abruptly. "Who reported it?" The female teacher said. "Not sure, but the exam room surveillance and proctor records are to be reviewed." Bai Jixia's mother's face turned ugly. "Is it a crime for my daughter to cough or drop her eraser?" The female teacher's tone was calm. "Once is nothing, multiple times, all time to the listening answer points. The surveillance will confirm." Bai Jixia shook her head frantically. No, baby didn't do it on purpose." Xie Wenju suddenly spoke. "She did it on purpose." Everyone looked at him. Bai Jixia froze. "Wenshu Gij." Xie Wenshu's fingers clenched. After the first question ended, she turned back and looked at me. His voice was low. Before the second eraser drop, she looked at me again. Bai Jixia burst into tears. Are you framing baby for Wen Henning? Xie Wenju closed his eyes. Bai Jixia, stop pretending. The director's face turned completely dark outside the door. Staff from the examination institute were walking in with documents. The surveillance footage was retrieved quickly. In the temporary meeting room of the exam venue, the screen lit up before the English listening portion started. Bai Jixia turned back to look at Xie Wenju before the first cough. Her hand rested on the edge of the desk, her eyes fixed on the broadcast speaker. Half a second before the answer word came up, she coughed before the second eraser drop. She pushed the eraser to the corner of the desk and paused for 2 seconds. The answer word sounded, and she let go the third time. The so-called stomach ache perfectly coincided with the transition between the end of listening and the start of reading, disrupting the entire room's rhythm. The proctor records were very clear. Candidate Bai repeatedly made sounds. Warning issued. The examination institute staff finished watching, their expressions stern. Whether it constitutes a violation requires further determination. Bai Jixia's mother became frantic. She was just nervous. The staff looked at her. Whether it was intentional is not for the parent to judge. Bai Jixia cried until she was shaking. Baby really didn't. Baby was just feeling unwell. The female proctor opened her records. After the exam ended, in the hallway, you said, the listening portion, everyone heard it anyway. And Wen Shugij won't blame me. Bai Jixia's head shot up. She hadn't expected the teacher to hear that. Xie Wenju sat on the chair, looking as if he had been drained. I didn't feel sorry for him. He wasn't someone with no choice, tricked by Bai Jixia every time. He chose her. The meeting ended. Bai Jixia was temporarily allowed to continue taking the subsequent exams, but the handling of her results would wait for the investigation. Bai Jixia's mother was furious, making calls in the hallway. Find the Education Bureau, find someone to ask. We can't let a little girl be destroyed by this. Her father stood nearby, directly recording. When Bai Jixia's mother saw this, her face turned ashen. What are you recording? Her father said, documenting parental interference in the investigation. Bai Jixia's mother gritted her teeth and shut up. Bai Jixia came out of the meeting room and suddenly rushed in front of me. Wen Henning, why won't you let me go? She was crying so hard her makeup was ruined. I'm already suffering so much. My mother wanted to stop her, but I held her back. What are you suffering from? I'm being scolded. She screamed shrilly. I've never been hated by so many people in my whole life. Do you know how terrifying that is? I looked at her. Do you know how terrifying it is to not be able to hear the broadcast, not be able to hear the teacher, not be able to hear someone call your name? Bai Jixia froze. I raised my hand and pointed to the hearing aid behind my ear. You don't know. Xie Wenju stood a few steps away, his eyes full of pain. Henning, I didn't look at him, because you both just thought it was fun. The hallway was so quiet it was unnerving. Bai Jixia suddenly laughed. It was a strange laugh. Wen Henning, what are you acting all noble for? She wiped away her tears and lowered her voice. Wen Shugij used to like me. You lost. Xie Wenshu's expression changed. Bai Jixia, she turned to look at him, her eyes sharp as knives. Regret it now. Too late. Bai Jixia's mother rushed over to cover her mouth. Jixia, shut up. But Bai Jixia had already snapped. I just hate her. She pointed at me. Why does everyone make allowances for her just because she can't hear? Why does Wen Shugij hover around her all day? I just wanted to make her lose face once too. These words were heard clearly by the teachers and parents at the end of the hallway. My father's recording hadn't stopped. Bai Jixia's mother was trembling all over. Have you lost your mind? Bai Jixia cried and crouched down. Baby didn't do anything wrong. Baby just wanted to be liked. No one responded to her words. Before the afternoon exam, the school issued a reassurance notice to all candidates, emphasizing exam order and candidate rights. My seat was adjusted to an area far away from Bai Jixia. Xie Wenju was assigned to the exam hall where the backup broadcast was clearer, but the temporary hearing aid didn't fit properly. And he was still in discomfort as he passed by me. His footsteps paused. Hennin, I never really knew how much this hurt before. I arranged my stationery. Even if you know now, it has nothing to do with me. His fingertips trembled. A broadcast announcement for entry sounded from the speakers. Bai Jixia stood in another line, staring intently at me. On the day the college entrance exam ended, the sky was heavy as if it was about to rain, when the bell rang for the final subjects collection. The entire building erupted in cheers. Some people tore up scratch paper, others hugged their classmates and cried. As I walked out of the exam hall, my mother waved to me from outside the crowd. My father held a bouquet of sunflowers in his hand. Just as I took the flowers, Xie Wenju walked over. He looked thinner, with dark circles under his eyes, and the temporary hearing aid behind his ear had rubbed his skin raw. "Henin, can we talk?" My mother frowned. I handed the flowers to her. 5 minutes. There were many people by the school's sports field. Xie Wenju stood under the shade of a tree, his voice hoarse. "I messed up the English exam. I didn't say anything. I got a lot of listening questions wrong, and then my reading was all messed up too." He said this, then let out a self-deprecating laugh. "So it turns out, not being able to hear a single word really can drive a person crazy." The wind rustled through the leaves. He looked at me. "All these years, every time you couldn't hear. Was I always telling you to just endure it?" The answer was too obvious. I didn't need to say it. Xie Wenchu's eyes turned red. "Bai Jixia said you were sensitive, and I believed her. She said you didn't fit in, and I believed her too. She said you were using your hearing impairment to manipulate me, and I still believed her." He raised his hand to cover his eyes. "How did I become like this?" I looked at him calmly. "You didn't change." His hand froze. "You just liked playing the savior. You liked protecting the school beauty who was always surrounded by people. You liked hearing her call you Brother Wenju in that soft, sweet voice. You liked showing off your tolerance, maturity, and kindness in front of my old wounds." Xie Wenchu's face went pale. "That's not true." "It is." I cut him off. "Back then, you protected me because you thought I was pitiful. Later, Bai Jixia showed up, and she was better at acting weak than me. So you went to protect her instead." His lips moved for a long time. He couldn't utter a single rebuttal. A commotion came from a distance. Bai Jixia and her mother were being blocked by several teachers near the school gate. Bai's mother wanted to take her away, while the academic director was speaking sternly about something. Xie Wenju turned his head. I looked over as well. The preliminary handling opinion from the exam board had come down. Bai Jixia was suspected of disrupting the exam order during the English subject, and a review would follow. The procedures regarding the damaged hearing aid, police mediation had failed, and the Xie family decided to pursue civil compensation. Bai's mother completely lost it. "Isn't it just a hearing aid? We'll pay for it." Xie's mother's face was cold. "Compensation is compensation. Responsibility is responsibility." Bai Jixia screamed and shook off the teacher. "I don't want this on my record." She rushed towards Xie Wenju. "Brother Wenju, help me, please. Tell them you weren't affected. That you heard just fine." Xie Wenju stood still. Bai Jixia grabbed his hand. "Say something." He slowly pulled his hand back. "I couldn't hear." Bai Jixia froze. Xie Wenju looked at her. "Because you broke my hearing aid, I couldn't hear." Low murmurs rose from the crowd. Bai Jixia's face turned deathly pale. "You can't say that." "It's the truth." Xie Wenchu's voice was very soft. Bai Jixia, as if cornered, suddenly raised her hand and slapped him. "You ungrateful bastard." Xie's mother rushed over to protect her son. Bai's mother panicked too. The scene descended into chaos. The academic director called for security. Bai Jixia was held back, still crying out, "When Henin, this is all your fault. If you had just let me look that day, none of this would have happened." I stood by the sports field, watching her lose her mind. My father walked over to me. "Let's go." As I turned, Xie Wenju called out to me, "Henin." I stopped with reddened eyes. He said, "Can I still send you messages in the future?" I looked at the hearing aid behind his ear, the one that had rubbed his skin red. "No." Xie Wenchu's tears fell. Bai Jixia crouched by the school gate, sobbing until she collapsed, and then the rain came crashing down, landing on her white school uniform skirt. The day the results came out, the class group chat exploded. My score ranked second in the entire school. With English nearly perfect, Xie Wenju scored more than 40 points below his usual average, losing heavily in English listening and composition, just barely passing last year's cutoff for his target university. Bai Jixia's results were temporarily withheld. The group chat was silent for a few minutes. Then someone posted, "So when Henin wasn't affected at all?" Another person immediately replied, "She originally applied for reasonable accommodations for listening. Don't talk nonsense." The homeroom teacher quickly sent a notice. "Regarding matters related to classmate by Jixia, please refer to the official handling. Discussion is prohibited within the group." The discussion didn't stop. Private messages popped up one after another. Someone apologized. Someone explained that they were just following the crowd at the time. Someone else said, "Actually, I've long been sick of Bai Jixia's baby talk." I didn't reply to any of them. The admission results came out earlier than expected. I was admitted to the law program at a key university in the capital. When my father saw the acceptance letter, his eyes turned red. My mother hugged me and cried even harder. "Then I did. He Ning, you did it." Xie Wenju ended up going to a school within the province. It wasn't a bad school, but it was far from the university he'd been talking about since his first year of high school. When Xie's mother came to our house to deliver the compensation receipt, she looked haggard. She placed the money and the repair bill on the table. The Bai family paid up, but not willingly. My mother didn't take it. "This should go to Xie Wenju." Xie's mother forced a bitter smile. "This was always his." She looked at me. "He Ning, Wenju wants to see you." My mother was about to refuse, but I nodded. We agreed to meet downstairs in the neighborhood. Xie Wenju stood beside the camphor tree, holding a small box in his hand. Inside was the repaired backup hearing aid. He handed the box to me. The shop said the casing was replaced, but the chip wasn't damaged. I didn't take it. "This is yours." Xie Wenju's hand froze in midair. "I want to give it to you. As an apology." "No need." He lowered his head. "I know." After a long pause, he said quietly, "After the admission results came out, my mom took me for a reassessment." He touched behind his ear. "The doctor said that because I always refused to wear it consistently, my hearing adaptation has gotten worse." I didn't respond. Xie Wenju gave a bitter smile. "Back when you used to urge me, I found it annoying. Now no one urges me anymore." The leaves rustled loudly in the wind. He suddenly asked, "Do you think I deserve this?" I looked at him. "Yes." Xie Wenju's eyes reddened, but he nodded. "Yeah." This time, he didn't defend himself. The verdict for Bai Jixia came out in early August. Her English exam score was voided. The reason? Repeatedly making deliberate noises during the exam, disrupting the order. She originally could have gone to a decent school with her art school exams and cultural scores. With her English score voided, her total score plummeted. The Bai family made a fuss, appealed, and cried to the media, but the surveillance footage, exam proctor records, hallway audio recordings, and the hearing aid damage report were all there. No one was willing to whitewash her as a curious little girl. On the day of university registration, my mother saw me off at the station. The loudspeaker announced boarding information over and over again. The voice was clear, steady, falling into my ears. I looked down at my phone in the class group. The homeroom teacher sent a final message. "I wish everyone a bright future. And I hope everyone remembers that kindness is never indulgence, and mistakes don't disappear just because someone says I didn't mean it." Xie Wenju sent me a photo. It was a hospital checkup report. Below it was only one sentence. "I've started wearing my hearing aid consistently." I stared at it for a long time before replying with 2 words. "Take care." The train pulled into the station. My mother adjusted the hearing aid behind my ear and asked softly, "Is it too tight?" I shook my head. "It's just right." Listen to the next story. In my past life, my best friend begged me over the phone, crying as she asked for leave to go back to her hometown. She pleaded with me to sign the registration confirmation form on her behalf. As the class monitor who had already been recommended for direct admission, I softened at her desperate pleas and agreed. A few months later, she filed a real name report, accusing me of using my position as class monitor to tamper with her college entrance exam application. I was subjected to a massive online witch hunt. My recommendation was revoked, and in the end, I was pushed under a truck and crushed to death. When I opened my eyes again, my best friend's sobs once more came through the receiver. "Just sign it for me, please, please. I really can't make it in time." This time, the first thing I did was start recording the call. Then I pulled the homeroom teacher and the admissions office teacher into the conversation. There was 3 seconds of silence on the other end of the line. Cho Manning sniffled and asked, Shu Cheng, why did you add the teachers? I placed my phone on the desk and switched it to speaker. On the table in front of me were piles of registration materials, class notification slips, copies of student IDs, and the statistical forms I was responsible for organizing. In my past life, it was at this very desk that I wrote Cho Manning's name for her. But in the end, that act cut through my fate like a knife. When homeroom teacher he picked up, her tone was a bit rushed. Shu Cheng, what's wrong? I'm in the office right now in a meeting with the senior year group, I said calmly. Teacher, classmate Cho Manning has taken leave and is out of town. Today is the last day for registration confirmation. She asked me to sign the confirmation form on her behalf. I want to confirm. Can the class monitor sign for someone else? On the other end of the line, Cho Manning immediately panicked. No. Teacher I'm just too anxious. I didn't say she had to sign. Admissions office teacher Zhao also joined the call. After hearing my explanation, her voice turned serious. What nonsense is this? The college entrance exam registration confirmation form must be personally checked and signed by the candidate, name, ID number, subject category, and elective subjects. None of these can be confirmed by someone else. I asked, if the person really can't make it back to school, is there a proper procedure? Teacher Zhao said, the homeroom teacher can register the situation, and the candidate can bring their ID to the local county admissions office to sign a supplementary form or apply to the school for an extension. In any case, signing on someone else's behalf is absolutely not allowed. I hummed in acknowledgement. Cho Manning, did you hear that? Cho Manning didn't answer. I could hear wind on her end, and then a woman's impatient voice. It's just signing a name. How hard can it be? Isn't she the class monitor? Isn't that what the class monitor is for? I knew who that was. Cho Manning's mother, Liu Guilan. In my past life, it was she who sat in front of the camera, crying and cursing me. My daughter studied hard for 12 years, and it was ruined by a recommended student. Now, her voice rang out again. Shu Cheng, right? Aren't you and my Manning in the same dorm? You call yourself her best friend. And now when she asks for a little help, you make excuses. I lowered my eyes, staring at the recording time on my phone, 000247. I said, Auntie, this isn't helping. It's a violation of the rules. Liu Guilan gave a cold laugh. Don't use rules to pressure me. You've already been recommended, so of course it's easy for you to talk. My Manning still has to take the exam. If she misses the confirmation, who's going to take responsibility? She will, I said, word by word. She's an adult. Her registration materials are her own responsibility. Teacher he coughed on the phone. Parent, Shu Cheng is right. This signature can't be signed by someone else. Manning, you need to go to the county admissions office quickly. I'll help you get in touch right now. Cho Manning finally spoke, her voice trembling. Shu Cheng, do you have to be like this? I trusted you. That's why I came to you. I almost laughed out loud. Trusted, in my past life. When she reported me, she also said she trusted me. She said that because she trusted me, she gave me all her information. She said that because she trusted me, she never thought I would harm her. I picked up a stack of papers from the table. Teacher Zhao, I'm now putting Cho Manning's confirmation form back into the class materials envelope. Throughout the process, I won't sign, I won't fill in anything. And I won't keep it for her. Teacher Zhao said, all right. You should hand it over to the homeroom teacher or the academic affairs office. Don't leave it in the dorm. I said, understood. Before hanging up, Liu Guilan cursed again. A class monitor like you. So hard-hearted. I didn't reply. I just saved the recording and backed it up to the cloud. Then, carrying the materials envelope, I went straight to the grade level office. In the office, teacher he looked at me with a complicated expression when she saw me. Shu Cheng, don't be too tense. Parents get anxious and say harsh things. Don't take it to heart. I placed the materials envelope on her desk. Teacher, all the class registration materials are here. I haven't touched Cho Manning's. Please count them now. Teacher he was taken aback. Now, yes, now. I opened my phone camera. To avoid any misunderstandings later, I need to record this handover. There were a few other teachers in the office. Hearing this, they all looked over. Teacher, his brow furrowed. Shu Cheng, are you saying you don't trust your teacher? I looked up at her. In my past life, she had done the same. After things blew up, she gave an interview, saying she wasn't sure if Shu Cheng had overstepped by accessing students' materials without authorization. I understood she wanted to protect herself, but I couldn't accept it. Teacher, it's not that I don't trust you, I said, my tone steady, it's that I don't want any materials related to the college entrance exam to pass through my hands in a private way anymore. Teacher, he fell silent. Teacher Zhao from the Academic Affairs office walked out from next door. Go ahead and record it. At this point, it won't hurt to be a bit more standard with her words. Teacher, he had no further objections. I took out the materials one by one. This is the sign-in receipt for the entire class's registration confirmation forms. This is the notification receipt. This is Chiu Manning's unsigned confirmation form, with student number 37 in the upper right corner. This is a copy of her leave request. For each item, I filmed it clearly in front of the camera. Teacher Zhao took out the registration book next to the school's official seal and wrote down the handover time on the spot, 3:26 p.m. I signed my own handover record, but I didn't touch the signature column on Chiu Manning's confirmation form. Teacher, he sighed. Shu Cheng, have you been under too much pressure lately? Your recommendation review is about to start, and you still have to handle all these class matters. I capped the pen. Teacher, I was just about to bring something up. She looked up. Starting today, I'm applying to step down as class monitor. The office fell silent again. Teacher, he looked at me disapprovingly. It's almost finals. Changing monitors now is too much trouble. You've been doing a great job, and everyone's used to coming to you. That's exactly why I can't do it anymore, because everyone's used to coming to me. I handed over the application I had written in advance. I have no problem with daily class tasks, but things like college entrance exam registration, qualification review, and volunteer notifications carry too much responsibility. Notifications can be posted by the teacher in the group, and materials should be kept by the Academic Affairs office. I'm just a student. I shouldn't be taking on procedural risks on behalf of the school. Teacher, his expression darkened even more, but she had no reason to refuse. In the end, she signed the application. The first thing I did when I got back was open the classwork group and post an announcement. Starting today, I am no longer serving as class monitor. For all matters related to college entrance exam registration, information confirmation, and volunteer submission, please follow the notifications from the homeroom teacher and the Academic Affairs office. I will not sign for, keep passwords for, receive verification codes for, or fill in any system information on behalf of any classmates. After posting, I also uploaded the screenshot of the official process that Teacher Zhao had sent me earlier. The class group exploded. Shu Cheng, why did you suddenly quit? Is it because of Chiu Manning? A few seconds later, Chiu Manning messaged me privately. Are you satisfied now? I stared at those 4 words and didn't reply. She sent another message. I just asked you for a favor. Did you have to make a big deal out of it and let the whole class know? I saved the screenshot of our chat, then I sent my final reply. I helped you connect with the proper procedure. The rest of the road, you'll have to walk it yourself. Send. Delete the chat. Lock the screen. At that moment, I heard a rope snap inside my heart. That evening, I cleared out everything in the dorm related to class affairs, spare keys, class fee ledger, activity registration forms, duty roster, sports meet sign-up sheets, even the copies of ID cards that classmates had left with me before. I put them all into transparent file bags and handed them over to Teacher He the next day. Before the handover, I recorded the process as usual. My roommate Yuan when asked me quietly, Shu Cheng, did you have a fight with Manning? I shook my head. No. Then why are you being so ruthless? I glanced at her. In my past life, after the incident, Yuan Wen had also posted online. Shu Cheng does usually handle a lot of the class materials, so it's not unreasonable for Chiu Manning to suspect her. That sentence had been clipped by a marketing account, paired with my photo, and shared over 100,000 times. I understood later, many people aren't malicious, they just can't be bothered to take responsibility for a vague statement. I sealed the last file bag. It's not being ruthless, it's about following the rules. Yuan Wen pursed her lips and said nothing more. The next day, Chiu Manning rushed to school to submit her supplementary materials. I heard she eventually completed her in-person signature at the county admissions office. And teacher Zhao even noted the off-site confirmation record in the system. I didn't go to watch the commotion. I sat in the library, preparing materials for the prestigious University Recommendation Review. In the afternoon, I received an email. The sender was the Office of the Basic Disciplinary Excellence Program at Tsinghua University. I opened it, my fingers tightening slightly. The email was brief. It congratulated me on passing the preliminary review and invited me to participate in the winter closed-door camp and subsequent review selection. Under the supervising mentor column, 3 characters were written: Fu Yanji. I stared at that name for a long time. A top expert in the field of combinatorial mathematics in the country, and the scholar I had cited most frequently in my competition paper. In my past life, I was supposed to meet him. But before the review could even finish, I had already been dragged into the mud by public opinion. My phone suddenly rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered. Is this classmate Xu Cheng? Yes, it's me. I am Fu Yanji from the Mathematics Science Center of Tsinghua University. My breath caught for a moment. His voice was gentle, yet carried a powerful presence. I read your competition paper. The proof approach isn't fully mature, but it shows real talent. I gripped my phone tightly. Thank you, Professor Fu. You'll be attending the winter camp, right? Yes, I will. Good, he chuckled softly. I'll be waiting for you there. After hanging up, I sat in the library for a long time. Outside the window, winter trees stood bare, the wind blew, and the branches swayed gently. I suddenly felt that in this life, my path was finally starting to head in the right direction. That evening, I returned to my dormitory to pack my luggage. Before the winter break, I had applied to move out of the campus dormitory, go home for a few days, and then head directly to Tsinghua for the winter camp. The dormitory auntie asked while processing my paperwork, Xu Cheng, not staying until the holiday ends. I smiled. No need, everything that needs to be handed over is done, as I pushed my suitcase out of the dormitory building. Chiu Manning was standing at the entrance. When she saw me, her gaze was icy. Xu Cheng, you'd better not regret this later. I stopped in my tracks. What I regret most right now is being too easygoing before. With that, I stepped past her and walked into the wind without looking back. On the day I returned home, my mother cooked a full table of dishes. My father served me food and asked, not the class monitor anymore. I hummed in acknowledgement. I thought he might urge me to stick with it. Instead, he simply said, good, you're there to study, not to be free administrative staff for the whole class. My nose tingled. In my previous life, my parents had also believed in me, but no matter how much they trusted me, they couldn't withstand the torrent of abuse. My mother, trying to defend me, had her workplace dug up. People called her office to curse her for raising a poisonous daughter. My father had gone to the education bureau to pick me up and almost witnessed my death firsthand. In this life, I would never let them go through that again. My mother transferred 8,000 yuan to me. Don't skimp at Tsinghua. Buy the materials you need, eat well. Your most important task now is to steady your own path. I nodded. I understand. Before the winter camp began, I arrived at Tsinghua early. The northern sky was cold. On campus, the ginkgo leaves had long fallen, leaving only clean stone paths and grey-white teaching buildings. The senior student who greeted me was named Jiangyu. She wore black-rimmed glasses and spoke quickly. Xu Cheng, right, Professor Fu mentioned you. Your dorm is in the West District, a double room. During the closed management period, you need to sign in daily. You can use your phone, but it will be collected uniformly during exams and lectures. Hearing the words closed management, I felt an inexplicable sense of relief. Rules, records, how wonderful. The days of the winter camp passed quickly. Every day, I attended lectures, solved problems, participated in discussions, and returned to the dormitory at night to review. I rarely checked the high school class group chat. That was until one night, a message suddenly popped up in the class group. It was from Liu Guilan. Somehow, She had gotten into the group and directly it mentioned me, Shu Cheng. When Cho Manning went to confirm her materials, she had to make an extra trip to the county recruitment office. The transportation costs, accommodation, and lost wages. Shouldn't you bear half of that? The group fell silent instantly. A few seconds later, someone replied, Auntie, how is this related to Shu Cheng? Liu Guilan immediately sent a voice message. If she hadn't refused to sign, would my daughter have had to run around like that? She's a recommended student, acting all high and mighty. Are we ordinary students supposed to just suffer in silence? I laughed. In my previous life, she had done the same. First, she tested your boundaries with small amounts of money. If you reasoned with her, she'd accuse you of lacking sympathy. If you ignored her, she'd say you were guilty. If you gave her the money, she'd claim you admitted fault. This time, I wouldn't argue with her. I directly sent a message in the group. Cho Manning's personal re-signing was a required procedure by the admissions office. Any related expenses are none of my concern. Please stop spreading false statements in the class group. Liu Guilan immediately shot back. Stop pretending. Aren't you just relying on your recommendation status? I opened the group settings, first saved a screenshot of the conversation. Then, I sent a message to Teacher He. Teacher, a parent is continuously accusing me in the class group for refusing to illegally sign on behalf of someone else. Please handle this. If it continues to spread, I will reserve the right to pursue legal action. Teacher He appeared quickly. Dear parents and classmates, the enrollment confirmation must be signed in person. Classmate Shu Cheng bears no responsibility. Please refrain from arguing in the group. Liu Guilan quieted down for 5 minutes. Then, she privately messaged me, transfer 200 yuan, and this matter will be over. Looking at that message, I almost laughed in anger. 200 yuan, in my previous life. To smooth things over, I had actually transferred it. Later, during her live stream, she said, Shu Cheng even paid compensation herself. Doesn't that mean she's guilty? This time, I also took a screenshot of her private message. Then I replied, no, if you harass me again, I'll call the police. After sending it, I blocked her. Next, I left the high school class group. My phone screen suddenly felt refreshingly clean. Time marched forward quickly. After the winter camp ended, I passed the re-evaluation smoothly. Until the days of the college entrance exam, I never returned to high school. During the summer vacation, Tsinghua University's top talent program launched the second phase of its closed camp, bringing us early admitted students onto campus for study ahead of time. During those days when volunteer applications were being submitted, I was in Tsinghua's computer lab, participating in a simulated research training session. On the morning after the application deadline, my phone suddenly vibrated. The caller ID showed, Teacher He. I stared at the screen, my heart still skipping a beat. What was bound to come had finally arrived. I answered, Teacher He. The background noise on her end was chaotic, sounded like the office, or maybe the hallway. Shu Cheng, where are you now? Tsinghua University's closed camp. Can you come back? Cho Manning's volunteer application has a problem. I set down my spoon. What kind of problem? Teacher, his voice dropped very low. Her application was submitted as a provincial public-funded normal school student. She says she wanted to apply for an out-of-province media college. Her mother is making a scene at the school now, claiming you were responsible for the class registration materials and might have had access to her information. I laughed, not out of joy, it was sheer absurdity. Teacher He, do you remember if I ever signed anything for Cho Manning? There was a pause on the other end of the line. No, you even specifically recorded audio back then. And all materials were handed over. Then did I keep her account, password, or phone? Probably not, probably not. I interrupted her. It's a no, there's a notice in the class group, a handover record at the academic affairs office, and a supplementary signature record from her at the admissions office. Teacher, he sighed. I know, but her mother is very emotional right now. She's already threatening to go to the education bureau. The school leaders mean that you should come back first to clarify things, so this doesn't escalate. I picked up my soy milk and took a sip. Warm, it steadied my stomach, and it steadied my voice. I won't come back. teacher he grew anxious. Shu Cheng, this involves your early admission qualification. If they report this to the university, they're already planning to do that, aren't they? The other end of the line went quiet again. I continued, teacher, volunteer applications aren't just registration confirmation forms. College entrance exam applications require the student's account, password, linked phone verification code, and final submission confirmation. Even if Cho Manning's registration confirmation form were placed right in front of me, there's no way I could log into her home computer and fill out her application. Teacher, he said wearily, I understand the logic, but right now the parents aren't being logical, then let the evidence do the talking. I opened my computer. Please ask the school to contact the Education Bureau immediately and retrieve the volunteer system's login IP, operation times, verification code sending records, and the device used for final confirmation. I'll provide the closed camp's sign-in records, computer lab surveillance footage, and phone storage logs. Teacher, he was stunned. You prepared all this so quickly. I lowered my gaze. Of course, quickly. I had thought through this entire process countless times in my past life, right up until my death. If I hadn't been soft-hearted, if I hadn't signed for others, if I had recorded everything from the start, if I had known to keep evidence from the very beginning, would I have died? Now, I finally had the chance to turn every single if into reality. I looked at the dozens of gigabytes of video and image evidence stored in my cloud drive. They were now the most reassuring thing in the world. There would be no more desperate helplessness where words failed me. This time, I would firmly grasp my own life. Just as the call was about to end, teacher, he suddenly said, Shu Cheng, I'm sorry, I didn't say it was okay. I only said, teacher, this time, please follow the procedure. At noon, the incident went viral. I saw it in the training camp's break room. The hashtag was disgustingly phrased, early admitted class monitor suspected of altering classmate's college application. Clicking in, the first post was a livestream clip of Liu Guilan. She sat at the school gate, hair disheveled, voice hoarse from crying. My daughter wanted to study media, her grades were good enough, she had a dream. But when the application was submitted, it turned into a provincial public-funded normal school slot. She slapped her thigh at the camera. Who could have touched my daughter's information? It was that class monitor, Shu Cheng. She was already admitted to Jinghua early, and she was in charge of the whole class's college entrance exam registration. She doesn't want us to do well. She's jealous of my daughter. From off-camera, someone asked, is there any evidence? Liu Guilan immediately shouted. She was in charge of the registration confirmation forms back then. My daughter wasn't at school, so all the materials were in her hands. If it wasn't her, then who else? The comments scrolled rapidly. Another early admitted student. Where's the fairness in the college entrance exam? Does the class monitor have this much power? Suggest a thorough investigation. Ruining someone's application is ruining their whole life. Too vicious. There were also skeptics. Registration confirmation forms aren't the same as volunteer applications, are they? But those were quickly drowned out. Cho Manning also posted a long article. Every word dripped with grievance. I'm just an ordinary examinee. No connections, no recommendation slots. My life was altered with a single tap by someone else. I want the truth. She didn't name me directly, but every sentence pointed at me. My personal account was flooded. Come out and explain. So what if you're a recommended student? You don't deserve to go to Jinghua. Cancel her qualification. Investigate. I stared at those comments, my fingers steady. In my past life, these words were like stones, crushing me until I couldn't breathe. In this life, they just felt noisy. Professor Fu's assistant called, Shu Cheng. Don't let this affect you for now. The school is aware of the public sentiment. Professor Fu asked me, do you have evidence? Yes, I sent over a compiled folder, named Cho Manning Incident Evidence Chain. First item, phone call recording. In it, I clearly said I wouldn't sign on her behalf. Teacher Zhao clearly said it couldn't be done. Liu Guilan's line, it's just signing a name, was crystal clear. Second item, class group announcement screenshot, time, content, group members, all there. Third item, academic affairs office handover video. Cho Manning's confirmation form, unsigned, clearly captured on camera. 4th item, County Admissions Office late signature record. Teacher Zhao had just sent it to me, stamped with an electronic seal. Cho Manning herself signed late with her ID, date, location, handler, all complete. 5th item, Provincial Examination Board. Public regulations. Registration information confirmation and volunteer application are two separate systems, two separate stages. I circled the key points. The registration confirmation form only confirms basic registration details. It cannot modify college application preferences. 6th item, my closed training camp record. From 9 to 10 p.m. on the night of the volunteer submission, I was in the computer lab taking an assessment, sign-in sheet, seat number, surveillance screenshots, phone, deposit tag, everything. I posted these materials in 3 separate updates. First, I did not sign on her behalf. Below are the full recording from that day, class announcement, handover video, and Cho Manning's own late signature record. Second, the registration confirmation form is not the entry point for the volunteer application system. Please don't confuse concepts. Volunteer application requires account, password, bound phone verification code, and final confirmation. Third, during Cho Manning's volunteer submission window, I was in Tsinghua University's closed computer lab for an assessment. With my phone deposited and surveillance present, materials have been submitted to the school and education authorities. Finally, I added just one sentence: I can accept an investigation, but I will not accept slander. After posting, I turned off comment notifications, then I continued to my afternoon lecture. On the podium, the professor was teaching graph theory. I opened my notebook and wrote down the first formula. The sunlight outside was bright, and online, the storm that had killed me in my past life finally crashed into the wall I had built in advance. At 4 p.m., the tide began to turn. The first to share my evidence was an education blogger. He said, after reviewing the materials, "It's basically certain that this recommended student did not sign on her behalf. More importantly, the registration confirmation form itself cannot operate volunteer applications. Confusing. These two things means either you don't understand the process, or you're intentionally stirring up trouble." The comment section split into 2 camps. The recording is out. What's the parent still crying about? So who filled in her daughter's preferences? The verification code was sent to her own phone. How could an outsider get it? Wait for the official announcement. Liu Guilan was still streaming. Someone screenshot my evidence and posted it in her live room. When she saw it, her face froze, but soon, she was slamming the table again. What does the recording prove? She's the class monitor. Of course she'd say nice things to cover herself. She must have seen my daughter's information. Beside her, Cho Manning kept her head down. She wasn't crying, she just clutched her phone tightly. Someone asked her, "Did you or did you not sign late at the county admissions office?" She bit her lip and stayed silent. Liu Guilan shouted for her, "So what if she signed late? Does that prove someone didn't tamper with her preferences?" Another person asked, "Wasn't the volunteer submission verification code sent to your daughter's phone?" Liu Guilan completely lost it. "How can you people be so cold-blooded? My daughter's future is ruined, and you're still defending the one who harmed her." The live room was reported and shut down. Half an hour later, the Provincial Education Examination Board issued a brief statement. "We have taken note of the situation and are checking the volunteer application system logs. Please refrain from spreading unverified information." At 7 p.m., "Teacher," he messaged me, "the Education Bureau has already pulled the back-end logs." I replied, "Thank you for your hard work." After a long pause, she said, "Shu Cheng, making you handle so many class chores back then. That was my oversight." I stared at the screen. Back then, it was only a few months ago, but to me, it felt like a lifetime away. I didn't reply to that sentence. At 9:30 p.m., the evaluation session at Tsinghua University ended. When I retrieved my phone, there were over 20 missed calls, high school administrators, unfamiliar numbers, media outlets, and Cho Manning. I didn't call any of them back. I only opened the text message she had sent me. "Shu Cheng, do you have to push me to the brink of death?" I let out a laugh. In my past life, I had asked her the same thing. I said, "Cho Manning, I didn't alter your college application. Why won't you tell the truth?" She replied, "But you did countersign it." That light, dismissive sentence nailed me to the judgment seat of everyone. Now it was her turn to suffer, yet she thought I was the one forcing her. I typed a response, "I'm just proving my innocence." I sent it. She replied again, "You've already been recommended for admission. Why can't you just let me off?" I stared at that sentence, so familiar it stung, and my fingertips went cold. In my past life, netizens had said the same thing. "You've already been recommended for admission. What's the harm in apologizing? You've already been recommended for admission. What's the harm in signing for someone? You've already been recommended for admission. What's the harm in bearing a little consequence? Why should you?" I deleted the conversation and didn't reply further. The next morning, the official announcement came out. The application system's back-end logs showed Cho Manning's application was submitted on June 29 at 9:16 p.m. The login IP came from the Cho family's broadband. The login device was a home desktop computer. The verification code was sent to Cho Manning's own registered phone number. The final submission confirmation was completed at 9:21 p.m. At the same time, I was in a closed computer lab at Tsinghua University participating in the top talent program evaluation. Identity verification, surveillance footage, and phone storage records were all complete. What was even more ironic was that after the Education Bureau staff retrieved the elevator surveillance footage from the Cho family's apartment complex, they discovered that at 9:40 p.m., Cho Manning had gone downstairs for a walk with Liu Guilan. She hadn't had her account hacked, she hadn't been coerced to the point of being unable to act, she had simply regretted her decision. Or rather, both she and her mother had regretted it. But regret couldn't reopen the system, so they needed a scapegoat. Unfortunately, this time, I wasn't in their pot. After the announcement was released, the online sentiment completely reversed. Clips from Liu Guilan's live streams were re-edited by netizens. Every one of her tearful accusations was captioned with screenshots of the system logs. "My daughter's application was changed by someone," was annotated with login IP from the candidate's home broadband. "That class monitor touched the materials," was annotated with the candidate personally signed the supplementary paperwork at the county admissions office. "The class monitor did not countersign. She ruined my daughter's life," was annotated with verification code sent to the candidate's own phone. The comments section shifted from outrage to mockery. "Auntie, did Xu Cheng also remotely intercept your daughter's phone verification code? She filled in the public-funded normal university program herself. And now she wants to backtrack and frame someone. This recommended student is so unlucky. Thank goodness she kept evidence. The class monitor will never want to volunteer for anything again after this." Tsinghua University's official account also released a statement. "Our university respects the facts and protects the legitimate rights and interests of its students. Xu Cheng's recommendation qualification and top talent program training arrangements will not be affected by false information." Under that statement, many people apologized. "I'm sorry. I jumped to conclusions too early. Lesson learned. Check the evidence before eating popcorn. Xu Cheng is really clear-headed. I would have broken down long ago. I didn't read them one by one. No matter how many apologies came, they couldn't erase the shadows left in my ears by the curses from my past life. But in this life, at least they hadn't hit me." Liu Guilan was summoned by the police because she had publicly released false information, incited netizens to attack me, and even posted my high school, admission university, and personal photos on her livestream. In the end, she received an administrative penalty, and her account was banned. Cho Manning didn't escape unscathed either. The Education Bureau determined that she had cooperated with her parents in malicious reporting, concealed the fact that she had personally signed the supplementary paperwork and confirmed the verification code, and disrupted the order of the admissions process. Her school gave her a demerit. A record was also left in her integrity file. "When teacher he sent me the results, his tone was heavy. Cho Manning came to school and cried all afternoon. I replied, can she still change her application? No. Once the system is closed, unless there's a technical malfunction or an error by the admissions department, it won't be reopened. I stared at that line of text, but there was no sense of satisfaction in my heart as I had imagined. The public-funded normal university program wasn't a bad choice. In fact, for many families, it was a very safe and stable path, but it wasn't the path Cho Manning wanted to take. What she had truly ruined wasn't an application, but the fact that after handing over the decision-making power over her own life, she refused to accept the price. She resented her mother, but she didn't dare to sever ties, so she chose to resent me instead. In my past life, she succeeded. In this life, she failed. That was all. In the evening, Professor Fu sent me a message. You handled the public opinion well, the evidence was clear, and your expression was restrained. I replied, thank you, Professor. He sent another message. Remember, kindness isn't about signing for others, and being responsible isn't about taking the blame for them. The same goes for research in the future. Boundaries are more important than enthusiasm. I looked at it for a long time, then I took a screenshot of that sentence and saved it to my photo album. One evening, the top-tier program organized us to go to the auditorium for a lecture. The theme was choices and consequences. I sat in the third row, listening to the teacher on stage say, at many junctures in life, there are no standard answers, but any choice must be confirmed by the individual themselves, and borne by the individual themselves. I lowered my head and smiled. If only someone had told me this earlier in my last life. But it didn't matter. In this life, I had already learned. After the storm had passed, I thought Cho Manning wouldn't seek me out again. I never expected that 3 days later, she would send me an email. The subject line had only 2 words. Please. The body was long. She said she hadn't meant to. She said her mother was too overbearing, and she had to listen to her family about everything growing up. In elementary school, learning piano was her mother's choice. In middle school, boarding was her mother's decision. In high school, choosing between the arts and sciences tracks, her mother also had to intervene. She wanted to go to another province to study media, which was her first attempt to fight for herself. But on the night of filling out the college application, Liu Guilan cried, saying it was unsafe for a girl to go far away, that media had no future, and that a government-funded teaching program guaranteed a job after graduation. They argued until 9 o'clock at night. In the end, Liu Guilan snatched her phone to see the verification code. She didn't stop her, because she knew that if she really put up a fight, her family would be turned upside down. After submitting the application, she collapsed. Liu Guilan also panicked. The mother and daughter searched all night, knowing the system couldn't be easily changed. So Liu Guilan thought of me. You used to be the class monitor, and you almost signed for me before. As long as we make a big fuss, the Education Bureau might reopen the window. At the end of the email, Cho Manning wrote, Shu Cheng, I know I've wronged you, but I really have no choice. Can you write a letter of forgiveness? I can't have this recorded in my integrity file. After I finished reading, I sat on my dormitory chair for a long time, without moving. Senior Jiang Yu poked her head out from her bunk. What's wrong? I showed her the email. After reading it, she only said 2 words, don't sign. I smiled. Don't worry, in my last life, no one told me not to sign. In this life, I would no longer write my name on someone else's mess. I opened the reply box. Cho Manning, you didn't have no choice. Every time, you chose the easiest way out. You didn't dare refuse your mother, so you chose to obey. You didn't dare bear the consequences of your obedience, so you chose to slander me. Now you don't want to accept the punishment, so you come begging me to write a letter of forgiveness. I'm sorry, but I won't sign. I can sympathize with you being controlled, but I won't forgive you for turning the knife towards me. After sending it, I saved the email and blocked her that same night. Liu Guilan switched to a new account and went on a rampage online. She called me heartless. She said I was a recommended student, stepping on ordinary examinees to climb up. She said her daughter had only made a small mistake, and I was trying to ruin her entire life. This time, netizens didn't indulge her. Auntie, your daughter almost ruined someone else's entire life. Don't use ordinary examinees as a shield. Ordinary examinees don't take the blame. If you want to change the application, blame yourself. Don't find a scapegoat. Liu Guolan's new account was soon banned. I closed the webpage and started organizing the book list I needed for the start of the semester. September hadn't arrived yet, but I had already entered a new rhythm, running every morning, classes in the morning, group discussions in the afternoon, reading papers in the evening. My days were so full that I almost forgot the smell of that high school dormitory. Until teacher he sent me a box of things. Inside were my graduation certificate, Communist Youth League materials, a few books I had left at school, and a handwritten letter. In the letter, she apologized to me. She said that as a homeroom teacher, she had been too reliant on well-behaved students in the past, delegating many responsibilities that should have been hers to me. She said that if it hadn't been for me insisting on recording and handing over that day, she might have habitually glossed things over again. She also said that later, the school had specifically revised the management regulations for college entrance examination materials. No student cadre was allowed to access candidates' personal confirmation materials. After reading it, I folded the letter. I didn't tear it up. I didn't keep it either. I just put it in the bottom drawer of my desk. Some apologies. I received them, but that didn't mean the wounds didn't exist. What I could do was not let them fester again. On the official first day of school, the sky over Jinghua was a clear blue. I dragged my suitcase into the new student dormitory of the Mathematics Science Center. It was a double room. Sunlight streamed in through the window, falling onto the clean desk. My best friend hadn't arrived yet. I arranged my books one by one: competition notes, linear algebra, Introduction to Combinatorics, and the English textbooks Professor Fu had recommended. My phone rang. It was a video call from my mom. When she saw the dormitory, her eyes lit up. How nice. The desk is big, and the bed looks comfortable too. My dad squeezed into the frame. Make a list of anything you need, and Dad will buy it for you. Don't be afraid to spend money. I smiled. I've brought everything I need. My mom stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly said, Cheng, you look much more relaxed now than before. I froze for a moment. Really, maybe, in my past life, I always felt I had to take care of everyone's feelings. When classmates asked me for help, I couldn't refuse. When teachers gave me tasks, I didn't dare to decline. When my parents said, "You're the class monitor," I subconsciously took it on. Only later did I realize, if a person has no boundaries, others will treat you like a house without a door. Anyone can come in and rummage through, anyone can throw their trash on you. In this life, I finally closed that door. Those who should come in are the ones who love me, respect me, and are willing to walk alongside me by the rules. Those who shouldn't come in can stand outside and shout. After hanging up the phone, Senior Jiang, you came to pick me up to meet Professor Fu. The Mathematics Center building was quiet. On both sides of the hallway hung photos of scholars from past years. I followed behind the senior, my heartbeat gradually quickening. Professor Fu's office door was open. He sat behind his desk, his hair half gray, but his eyes were very sharp. Seeing me, he put down his pen. "Shu Cheng, you're here." I nodded. "Hello, Professor Fu." He pointed to the chair across from him. "Sit down. From now on, attend the seminar once a week. Your foundation is solid, but don't rush to prove anything. First, get a clear understanding of the problems." I took careful notes. He looked at me again. "One more thing. Please go ahead. From now on, if anyone asks you to sign anything you shouldn't sign, don't hesitate." I smiled. "I won't." Professor Fu smiled too. "Good. Only those who can guard their own name can guard their own knowledge." When I came out of the office, the sunlight was falling at the end of the hallway. I stood there, suddenly remembering the last moment of my past life. The Education Bureau entrance was very noisy. Some people were cursing me, some were hitting me, some were shouting for me to die. As I fell, I was still clutching an appeal document. It was densely packed with evidence, but it was too late in this life. It's not too late. I didn't sign for Chiu Manning. I didn't keep her materials. I didn't bear the consequences of her choices, and I didn't let anyone's lies overshadow my life. Before the afternoon seminar started, I opened a new notebook. On the first page, I wrote the date, then I wrote 4 words, "personally confirmed." The moment the pen tip landed, I couldn't help but smile. This time, my life is finally